This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari from here on the western fringes of the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. My name is James Henry. David is on camera.
Hello.
And that is a little group of kudu that were standing perfectly until you guys decided to come look at them, at which point they decided that they were too shy or too recalcitrant or whatever it was. Yeah, there's the bull. Whoops. Please ask us any questions you'd like to using the email address kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. That's for the first 45 minutes. You adults will have to just hold on with your questions, or hold off with them actually. There's a little baby that's now got confused and decided to run away from his parents. Can you see that, David, in the middle of the clearing? Yes. But now is a bit scared and wants to come back to them. While we're looking at them, a very happy birthday to Arian Fraser in Graskop in Mpumalanga, who's been watching these shows since lockdown began. He is 11 today, apparently. Ooh. That impala is going to get itself into trouble if it continues to behave in that fashion. Anyway, Aaron says he might want to become a ranger, maybe even a presenter for WildEarth. Well, that could be great fun. I must say, I think it's the best job I've ever had, so I hope that you get lucky there. And then apparently your Game Ranger in my backpack book is on its way. I don't know who's sending it to you. It's not from me because I didn't know it was your birthday, Arian, but had I known, oh well, I may have sent you something. I believe you also sent me a picture to my personal Instagram account, which I'm afraid I have not received. So if you wouldn't mind emailing it perhaps to me, to info@jameshenry.co.za. Otherwise you can try and personal message it to my Instagram account again, but I think that'll be tricky. Good. Graskop is quite a nice part of the world to live, everyone. In case you didn't know, it's a little town on the top of the Drakensberg Mountains overlooking the Lowveld. Misty and cool in the winter and very pleasant in the summertime. Doesn't get nearly as hot as it does down here. Close to the historic and now rather dilapidated, unfortunately, town of Pilgrim's Rest, where Jock of the Bushveld, that very famous South African story, was set. I think that this bull kudu is rather overwhelmed with desire for the cow kudu that he's chasing, but he's not putting on a very impressive performance, and she's decided he's not really worth it. So let's go across to Lauren, say hello to her. I'm going to head off to the east.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. It's so good to be back on drive again. Feels like I haven't been in this hot seat forever. My name is Lauren, and I do have BK on camera today. And as James mentioned, he's going to head east. I think we are going to head south. But you know, the plans always change. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what tracks you're going to find or where they're going to lead. So it's a lovely sunny day, but let me assure you, it's not warm. I'm already thinking about putting my cardigan on. There's a nip in the air. Winter, I think we can officially say winter is here. It's May after all. It's no longer summer. So I'm so glad to have all the families on board from all around the world. Please do send in your questions. You've already had the email address, but we are really looking forward to asking all your weird and wonderful questions, or at least trying to answer them. Now, I wasn't out this morning, but I believe not many tracks were found, so I think I might pop into Chitwa. I like Chitwa. Something always draws me into Chitwa. Sometimes it can be quiet, but it's still a really beautiful property to traverse. We don't just traverse Djuma, we also go down south and look at Chitwa as well. And that's where I think I'm heading, and see what's going on down there. I want to see spots. I always want to see spots, but today I really want to see spots. Spotted hyena or leopard will do. But Saul, you're 10 years old from India. Hello there, and you're asking about monkeys. Yes, we have monkeys. But let me tell you, most of them live in our camp. I'm going to tell you about the morning I had. I woke up, Trishala was on drive, but I still wake up nice and early. I've got lots of other work to do. And everyone was busy working, so it was just me. I can hear someone in the kitchen and I'm thinking, maybe it's one of my colleagues making coffee. Hopefully, then I don't have to make the pot. I can just steal some of theirs. As I got round the corner, it was Swazi. Now, for those of you who don't know Swazi, he is a hyena. And I always thought Swazi was small, but when you see Swazi eye to eye on foot, he's really not small. He's very large. Swazi got a fright, I got a fright. We had that moment where we both look at one another thinking, oh, of course, he just ran away. Oh, he didn't run away, he trotted away. So then I go inside the kitchen and I start making my pot of coffee. I'm very particular about my coffee. And I hear a noise. It's Swazi again. I go outside and there's a whole troop of monkeys. They watch you like this. I'm going to crash the car, better be careful. And you look at them back thinking, what do you want? And you can't get rid of them. So we have vervet monkeys all around our camp. Sometimes we see them on drive. And we do have baboons here too. So if we see any monkeys or baboons, I will try to put them on camera just for you. Now, enough of my stories. I'm going to get looking for tracks. And as I do that, we're going to send you guys back across to James.
Here is a steinbock, or stonebuck. And this steinbuck is just enjoying his late lunch. Soon to be followed by scones and tea. Probably not. Now you can tell this is a male steinbuck by the fact that he's got horns. And if you're really observant, you may find another way of telling that he's a male. We saw. Good, well done. Now, possibly the most interesting thing about the steinbuck in his current position is the little black hole beneath his eye. And that little black hole beneath his eye is a gland. And he marks his territory using that gland. So he spikes a grass stalk or a stick into that gland and leaves a scent. Now, why it is that nature has given him a marking gland so close to his eye in which he has to spike himself with a stick is quite beyond me. Because the chances of him blinding himself must surely be quite high. But he does not appear to have blinded himself. He seems to be seeing quite effectively. He's quite a well-muscled young steinbock. Ariana, it depends on the wild animal. Some wild animals you can sort of tame and some you can't. You don't really want to tame wild animals there, Ariana. They're wild animals living in the wild, and that's where they were kind of meant to live. And as soon as you start trying to tame them, you have to keep them in places that they wouldn't normally live. So much better idea is to try and habituate an animal to your presence rather than tame it. Now, the difference between the two is that by habituating yourself to it, it's not necessarily tame. But you can see that this animal is not afraid of us. It's not running away. It's not running at us and charging us, although that would be quite funny in this case. It wouldn't be with an elephant. By habituating an animal, you get to watch it in its natural environment. You don't ever touch it. You don't ever try and make it your pet or anything like that. But you can get nice and close to it, and it trusts you enough for you to be in its space without it being afraid. And that's really the goal of what we do out here. It's to try and get nice and close to these animals and let them carry on with their lives without us having an effect on them. Now, that's not always possible, but that's the goal. You may find that one of those frustrating adult answers that doesn't give you yes or no. You were probably looking for a yes or no, but I'm sorry, I can't give you that. If you want a short answer, I guess it's no, you can't tame these animals. Oh, he's eating little flowers there now, is he? Yeah, Rifki, they do. They've all got quite small horns, and they've all got those sort of straight, spiky horns. And that would seem to be so that they can fight each other, because the females almost never have horns. And so, yeah, I'm not sure why it is that all the little antelope have got horns that are dead straight, because they look pretty lethal. They look like they could do some serious damage. Sean, that is a squirrel calling in the background, well heard. It is a tree squirrel. And if it wasn't so close to the lodge, I would think about going to check what it was shouting at. But I don't think it's going to be a leopard, because it's pretty much calling out of the landowner's garden. And unless he's got a leopard on his front porch, which I think is unlikely given that he has a dog there, it's probably nothing. Well, unless it's a snake or something like that. That said, the squirrel is making the steenbok look up and look over at him and look a little bit nervous. But not anymore. Aiden, all the way in Malta, the steenbok horns stay around that size. So they obviously start off smaller, but that's about the full size that a steenbok horn gets. Two little stabbing implements on the front of its head. Squirrel is still shouting, and they're now stopped. All right, let's pop across to Lauren and see how her journey's going, and we'll carry on from here.
Unfortunately, I don't have any animals for you yet, but I did check one road that I've been suspicious about for leopard movements, and sadly no tracks. That's a good thing though, nobody's been moving on this road. That means we go and we check other roads. And I was just saying to BK, I can personally visibly see the difference. Winter really is here. You just need to look at the vegetation, the grass. The grass is really starting to die. It used to be much taller. This grass has been cut, but you can see it's now yellow in colour. It's really starting to die off. Slowly but surely, it'll recede and it'll go completely flat, and you'll be able to see all the way through the block. Helen, you're 10 years old, from Ireland, from Dublin. I'm not sure if that's the right accent, but I'm trying. I've forgotten the question. Do I think animals understand each other? I shall wait until Natalie repeats the question. Understand each other's territories. Absolutely. Otherwise, there really wouldn't be a point in having territories at all. We are looking at a crowned lapwing, everyone. Very, very lovely birds. Bright pink legs and pink beak. Oh, that's the limpy one. Has that one got the limp? Yes. I think so. I think it's got a little broken leggy. Its right leg is broken. But yes, if animals couldn't understand one another's territories, then there really wouldn't be much point in marking them, in vocalizing, scent marking, squishing your urine. There would be no point. But only animals of the same species will understand one another. So a leopard, for example, marks its territories through a variety of different ways. Calling, that's sawing, something like that. Probably didn't do a very good job there. And marking with urine, feces, rubbing its cheeks on the vegetation. So the sebum from the sebaceous glands goes on the vegetation. Basically just being present, because leopards can hear very well, so they can hear one another sawing, and they have a great sense of smell, so they can smell all these scents that have been left by one another. Some also claw mark on trees. They scrape their claws on trees, and that's a visual territorial sign. So they are doing this to send other information to other leopards. Not to lions, not to elephants, not to lapwings, not to impala. They're doing it to send information to other leopards. And that's what is important. The biggest threat to any individual in any species is an individual of your own species. The biggest threat to a leopard is another leopard, and therefore they mark their territories to communicate to another leopard. Lions mark their territories to communicate to other lions. So yes, I do think they understand, but it won't be in the ways that you think. It'll be through scent. It'll be through hearing vocalizations. It won't just be through verbally saying, this is my territory. They have to mark their territories in all sorts of ways. Animals can communicate in such a wonderful array of, well, forms that humans struggle to understand. There's animals that can communicate through sound, like elephants and giraffes, that humans can't even hear. It's way below our hearing range. So we don't know they're communicating, but they are. Animals can see different colors on the spectrum that humans can't see. So to us, it doesn't look like it's there, but actually it is there. Our eyes haven't evolved to be able to see those colors. And of course, I have a good sense of smell, or at least I like to think so, but it's nowhere near as good as many of the different species out here. They can smell hormones, they can smell pheromones, they can smell chemical signals. Humans, sadly, cannot do that. So yes, absolutely, what a great question. They can understand each other's territories. Two little lapwings, it's lovely. I've seen this one with the broken leg before. It's good to know it's still going strong. David, you are 14 from the USA. My brother's called David, and my father's called David. My grandfather's called David. And my partner's called David. It's a great name. Anyway, you are asking, now that it's winter, have all the migratory birds disappeared? Do you know, that is a very good question, because of course they do. Most of the migratory birds, whether they're from within the African continent or without the African continent, they come from far away, places like Europe, they come here for summer. Summer brings water. Water brings greenery, brings life, which brings the insects, which brings food. So everybody comes here to eat and to breed. They all advertise, you hear them calling. The woodland kingfisher is a perfect example. It's so loud and it's so vocal, and they're trying to attract one another. And they've got plenty of food to stay strong and keep their energy levels up. But once summer ends, they disappear. They go home, wherever they're from, whether it's within Africa or out with Africa. And on that note, David, I haven't seen a migratory bird in quite some time. I think most of them have left. We may see a few stragglers. They rely on environmental cues to know when to go. So we actually may see a few stragglers, but I think you are right. Most of them have gone. I haven't seen a woodland kingfisher in a very long time. I haven't seen a cuckoo, some of the raptor. I haven't seen a Wahlberg's eagle. So yes, most of them will go on. I think we may see a straggler or two, but it's really, really getting colder. And although birds do use environmental cues along with biological cues, what you will find is that they will follow one another. So once one bird starts to leave, the others will start to leave as well. And it's sad. You know they'll come back next year, but it's also sad to see that they're no longer here. Of course, there's still birds, but these are the common residents that you see all year round. We didn't get to see the European roller this year, which was very sad. It didn't come. Carmine bee-eater didn't come. And I wonder why. Slightly worrying. Maybe they've found greener pastures. Or maybe climate change is affecting their migratory patterns. Slightly concerning, and definitely needs to be recorded. It's kudu. Hello, kudu. Gorgeous females. I think James showed you a male earlier. This is the females. There's a youngster there as well. David, you're age 14 from Baltimore, and you are asking, how hot does it get in summer? David, it gets incredibly hot. I'm from Scotland, which is generally a cold country all year round. It's not really much of a summer. And yes, it gets very, very hot. It can reach the 40 degrees Celsius. I'm not entirely sure what that is in Fahrenheit, I'm afraid. I'm sure that you will operate in Fahrenheit, David. But I think 45 can be really common, 45 degrees Celsius. I'll get Natalie to tell me what that is in Fahrenheit. And it's very, very hot. It's almost too hot. Too hot to handle. It's uncomfortable. And of course, the water dries up. And that's the most fundamental thing out here. How can you survive without water? So Natalie, what is 45 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. So it goes over 100 degrees Fahrenheit very often in summer. But we get rain. We get water. Because summer brings about different weather patterns, different pressure systems. And when the two pressure systems meet over the low veld, over the savannah, the area that you're asking about, that causes thunderstorms. So it becomes very, very stormy, lightning, thunder, and rain. And rain is what we need. So although it's hot and humid, we get lots and lots of rain. And that is what starts the process of summer. But it does get very, very hot, and on those extremely hot days, if we haven't had rain for a while, it will dry the water up. So it really, really depends on how much water we get. So I'm heading to Treehouse Dam to see if anybody is here, and as I do that, we are going to send you guys back across to James.
Hello again. We are having a little boat ride along the last bits of wet river beneath or below the dam at Djuma. There is the Cape Turtle Dove. We'll just have a quick look at it, and while we do so, have a listen to what's going on around here. We just thought we'd have a quick look down here, see what was going on. Maybe some elephants, maybe some leopard tracks, maybe some dinosaurs, other than the birds, I mean. So peaceful. Hello, Scarlett in New York. I don't think the animals ever get mean, no. You know, they sometimes get angry with us. Sometimes they can get upset with us. But normally that's because they feel like we are invading their space. So it's a little bit like, I don't know where in New York you live, but imagine you found a stranger in your house one day. You'd get pretty upset, wouldn't you? Even if that stranger didn't mean any harm and they were just kind of walking in, you'd get pretty upset. Well, it's the same for a lot of these animals. We come driving along into their space and they think, well, why are you doing here? What are you doing here? Why are you here? And then they can get a little bit upset, but they're not mean. They don't get nasty for the sake of being nasty. Sometimes they can be a bit mean with each other. But, you know, so can we be mean with our fellow humans. So I'm going to say no, the animals don't get mean with us. Sam, it really does depend on the animal. Some animals we can get very, very close to. I had an elephant not more than a meter away from the vehicle this morning, so that was nice. And sometimes you can't get very close at all. The last time I saw Tundi the leopard with her babies, I had to park 75 meters away from her. So, you know, that wasn't close in the slightest. It just depends on the animal and how confiding and how comfortable it is to be around you. Very pretty area this, isn't it? Some spur fowls shouting over here. Yes. Last time we were driving in the river, we had a big herd of buffalo. But there are no tracks of the herd of buffalo now. We've got lots of tracks of elephants, though. So maybe we'll be lucky with some elephants. It's a quiet start, but that's very normal for the afternoon. Animals not normally moving around a huge amount during the mid-afternoon, except that it has been, whoops, daisies, it has been pretty cool today. You know, there's been a coldish wind blowing the whole day, and so most of the animals that would sleep normally during the day, sometimes they move around when it's cool, like it has been today. There's an elephant in front of us, that's nice. Connor, no, I don't think so. It's a very interesting question, and I don't know exactly what it is about pet cats that makes people allergic to them. My wife's allergic to pet cats, but as far as I'm aware, I've never found her sneezing and snorting around lions or leopards. So no, I don't think you would be allergic to big cats. I think if you came out here, maybe if you got really close and you stuck your nose into the belly fur of a leopard, you might have a sneeze, but luckily you'll never get that close to a leopard. Now there's an elephant just up ahead here, just down here. In fact, there are a whole lot of them. Just trying to see how best we're going to view them. We don't know. Yeah, let's just start here. I'll just show you where they all are. They're all lined up in front of us. Those birds you can hear are green wood hoopus. It's an interesting question, Mia. They're grey for two reasons. One, because it's very good camouflage. Grey is actually a very good colour to be out here if you want to hide. It's actually probably more effective than brown. And brown also requires pigment. So it requires, it's quite difficult to explain, but basically it's expensive to make. It's not cheap to make brown fur. It's much easier to make this greyish colour. And you'll find that most animals under their fur are actually this colour. So if you were to shave an impala, it would be a very similar colour to this. So we're just going to see where they're going, because some little ones shouting down there. They seem very relaxed. Let me drive down and we might get a slightly better view. It's going to be a little bit of an adventurous drive. So hold on tight. Whee! Oops. When you're learning to drive, you should try not to do that. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, we're going to go across to Lauren now.
Oh, it's chilly. The faster I go, the chillier it gets. Now, I'm on the southern boundary. So what I'm hoping to do is you get to look in two different properties. So we can't actually traverse this property. We don't have the rights, but at least we can look. And sometimes on the boundary lines, because they're nice and smooth, especially compared to some of the roads that we bumble along in Djuma, you can see tracks very easily. You can spot them a mile away, and then you know that an animal has moved here fairly recently. Now, talking of birds, from David's question, I've been looking up. Are you going to stop? Are you going to allow us to put you all on camera, gorgeous birds? No. The answer to that question was no. not only are the birds going to disappear, the butterflies are too. And I can see that already. Christy H15, I'm going to have to get Natalie to repeat that. You're asking, do we get something here? But I'm not sure what it is. Graspers. Graspers? I'm not sure, Natalie. You'll have to spell it, I think. Grass birds. Now I got you. I'm not entirely sure what that means, grass birds, to be perfectly honest with you, Christy. We have ground birds, or what we call ground birds. Just having a quick look here before I go to the other pan. Tandy and Sabui like this pan. It's called baboon pan. So we have ground birds, and I'm wondering if that's what you're referring to. Birds that lay their eggs on the ground in little nests and are heavy birds. They've got heavy body mass, and you normally find them walking on the ground than you would do up in the air. So your francolins, your spurfowls, they would be an example of your ground birds. So I hope I'm answering the question the way you want. If not, you are welcome to explain further, but yes, we do get ground birds here, and they are normally your common residents. Oh, BK, look, we've got a gorgeous butterfly here. Just 3 o'clock on the edge of that blade of grass. I'm hoping. Up, up, up. Pull out a little bit. There we go. I didn't quite know how to explain that to BK. So yes, we do get lots of ground birds here. This is a spotted joker, I think. And what I noticed over the course of summer with the butterflies was very, very interesting. We saw different species of butterflies arrive, if you like, appear at different times throughout summer. The spotted jokers, the one that you're looking at right now, they came a lot later. I didn't know. Is he cleaning his proboscis? He's clinging on well in this gale force winds. I think he's having a little clean of his mouth parts. Oh, poor butterfly. Oh yes, how wonderful. You see that additional thing that's not a leg and it's not an antenna? That's its proboscis. That's how a butterfly feeds. Uses it like a straw. You see it moving? It's feeding on something. Fascinating. So I'll come back to my butterfly chat in just a moment. But for now, I'm going to send you across to andBeyond and Ngala to say good afternoon to Sean.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the andBeyond and Ngala. You'll be with myself, Sean, and we've got Marcel behind the camera on his last game drive with us here, so it's very exciting for everyone. So we've had a couple of signal issues, but we seem to have found a good spot here. Nice open area, really, really beautiful. We've got some elephants way down there on the horizon, and they are some of the first animals today that have decided to be in an area that has signal. So we're quite happy about that. What we're actually doing is, well, earlier we went back to the lions just to see if there's any update there, any changes, and there weren't any. Most of them were still there. We were missing 2, but I think we just maybe didn't see them. They'd all moved into the shade, and because we had no signal, we obviously left. What we did have is reports of 3 more lions, 3 lionesses, just on the other side. So on the horizon there, you can see some buildings over there. So that is the Southern African Wildlife College. And just on the other side is where we have the reports of these 3 lionesses. So what we're going to do, we're going to make our way down there, see if we can find them. Hot day, probably haven't moved too far. So we're hoping that they're going to be lying in the shade somewhere under a bush. There's an old water hole there. Not sure if it has water, but we'll go have a look. Hopefully they'll be around there somewhere. So while we go down there and have a search, have a look, see if we can find them, we're going to send you back across to Djuma.
We've been sitting here with a herd of elephants that has sort of been milling about, going up and down, and coming closer now. We've got a whole lot of little ones there, which is quite fun. Unfortunately, I think they're going to go out of this riverbed, and I can't really go closer right now. Here we go, there's another one coming down here, Dolph. And you've got the baby. Okay, good. Oh, that's a tiny little one. Oh, coming to see us. They're winding their way along there. The other little one telling his friend, hurry up. Who knows what those things want? Sam, it's difficult to say how many kilometers they'll travel in a day. I think probably in this area, these elephants cover around about, let's say, 10 kilometers or so during a day. Maybe a little bit more. That's about 6 miles, so not very far. But sometimes they'll travel much further, especially in the dry season, when they've got to get from, their feeding grounds, which could be a long way away from water, down to where they want to drink. And I know that in some parts of Botswana, they'll move up to 50 kilometers a day. So that's, 30 miles. Here's the bull. Oh. I don't know, Jacob, but I think they probably would. I think if I gave an elephant a peanut, he would probably eat it. I do know, interestingly, that elephants eat oranges, and I know that from from 2 experiences. One was when I was in Botswana. No, it was Zimbabwe, actually. I was filming a cycle race, and there's a farm there where they put out trailer loads of rotting oranges for the elephants every day, and they come and eat them. And the other time that I learnt about this was over here, where David, who's sitting on the car today, dropped a segment of orange on the ground by mistake off the car. And a young elephant bull walked past, sniffed it, picked it up, and popped it in his mouth. So they do like oranges. But I don't know about peanuts. David, have you got any peanuts with you?
Not today.
Not today. Let me just sneak forward a bit because we've only got to the bum shot. Savan in Denver, Colorado. Elephants have got such big ears because they use them as an air conditioning system for their brains. All the blood in the elephant's ears flows through the ear. Let me say that again. All the blood in the elephant's body flows through the ears in about 20 minutes. And then it goes into the brain where it's nice and cool. So on a hot day, you'll see them flapping their ears a lot to cool the blood down that goes to the brain. Now this guy is eating Laganaria spherica. There we go, that thing that looks like a pumpkin. Let's see if he actually eats the fruit. He is eating the fruit. In fact, he's selecting the fruit. That's quite cool. They look like a sort of gem squash inside, those things. And in actual fact, no, he didn't like it. Yes, he did. He half likes it and half doesn't like it. But see how he took the leaves out? He didn't seem to like the leaves very much. Let's see if he reaches up and takes the next one up there. There's one more fruit there. He's eating it sort of piece by piece. I'm not sure that he thinks it's very delicious. Now he's thinking about the leaves. No, I don't think he liked that very much. I thought I smelled oranges. Oh. David is having an Archie. What's an Archie called elsewhere in the world? Clementine. I thought maybe that Laganaria fruit smelled like citrus, but I've cut them open and I've never smelt citrus in them. JK, am I going to be seeing the elephants here now? I don't know how to answer that question, other than to say yes. Am I going to be feeding the elephants? No. We don't feed elephants, except when David drops the odd piece of citrus by mistake. We do not feed the elephants. These guys are having a bit of a box. In fact, it's becoming quite a serious box. Two young bulls. A very steep part of the bank there. All right, let's go to where Lauren is sitting, I'm assuming at Chittredam, and find out what the hippos are doing over there. I'm going to have one more look at these elephants before we move on.
Not doing very much. I think it's doing very little, as hippos do during the day. I cannot see another hippo in this dam. This is Chitwa Dam, and it used to be full of hippos, but because there's water available everywhere now, they've dispersed. They've sort of spaced out from one another. Spatial arrangement is very, very important in most species, especially with the males. And we just have this lone hippo just chilling. Ooh, that dam must be cold. And of course they can submerge, they can hold their breath. So they can go under for anywhere up to around about 6 minutes. And you can see the nostrils, the eye and the ears are all on the same plane. Almost as if you could take a pencil and draw a line from the ears to the nostril in a straight line. And this is so that they can do exactly what this individual was doing. Just put a small amount of their head above the water like this, you see? And he can still hear, can still smell, and he can still see. He doesn't need to bring his entire head out. Molly, hippos are herbivores. So they don't eat very much during the day. In fact, they don't really eat at all during the day. They are relaxing, resting, digesting and pooping. That's what they do during the day. And then as that sun starts to set, they will leave the water and they'll slowly emerge and they'll forage on all the delicious vegetation very close to the water bodies. So they're herbivores. They eat lots of delicious grasses and leaves, and they're normally found not too far from the water body that they spend the day in during the day. They're not the most elegant walkers, but they do have the best track marks. So apparently 45 minutes is up already. Can you believe it? I can't. Oh, other hippo, there's two.
Henry from Zampano getting mobile. Any updates, please?
I'm just going to turn that down. So yes, 45 minutes is up, so that means we are opening the drive to everybody. So thank you families and kids for all your wonderful questions so far. But don't go anywhere. Keep asking questions. We shall do our very best to get round as many questions as we can. So adults, those above 18 years old, we will take your questions now also. So I'm going to do a quick loop around Chitwa. This is Kuchava and Sabui's realm, so we never know who we might bump into. And as I do that, we're going to send you guys back across to James.
The elephant's having a bit of a fight here. One of them now doing the backup. Ooh. Major tussle between two young bulls. I think the one of them's trying to back away now. The one on the right. I don't think it's very serious. It's not like if they were great big adult bulls. There's that classic old saying that goes, the only thing that suffers when elephants fight is the grass. Or the thing that suffers the most when the elephants fight is the grass. You can see why that is the case. That's quite cool. Maybe we should nip round to the front and see if we can get a better view of them. Having their boxing match. I think they're all going to come out into the clearings over here. Kelsey, elephants are not endangered, strictly speaking. They are certainly threatened, as far as I'm aware, but they're not on the endangered list just yet. But their numbers are declining, and the major problem for elephants is, well, yes, poaching, but mainly habitat loss. As human populations increase, so the space for elephants decreases. And there's some of the herd coming out. Our two guys are in here somewhere. Oof, they're all over the place here. I'll just try and get a look at our little action-packed scene with the bulls, but I'm not sure we'll get... Here they come. Here they come right past us. Always behind a bush. That bush is not enjoying this fight at all. Now this is important behavior because they're learning the social standing. They're learning the effects of size. Yeah, no, I didn't get that, Natalie, at all. I got tic-tac boy, were man herbivores, tic-tac boy. Which I'm sure is not what you said. Jetpack boy. Jetpack. Oh, look at that. That's great stuff. Jetpack boy. Mammoths were certainly herbivores, yes. I don't know what else they ate, but they were certainly herbivores. Ooh. Not sure why it always has to be behind a bush. I suppose that's the bushes more than it is the elephants. Let's go forward a little bit. Where are you guys going? me just go around them so then the sun will not be shining the wrong side of them, and we'll see what they carry on with. There, now you can have at it, chaps. No bushes between you and us. Go for it. And go. And go. No? Now we're relaxed. That's why I don't think it's a very serious fight. Now there's another little fight going on. It seems like a slightly bigger bull was feeling left out. Rowan, Eric, it's mainly the males that fight. I've never seen cows do this. It just doesn't seem to be their vibe, you know. I think if cage fighting was a thing amongst the elephants, I'm not sure how many cows you'd find doing it. I mean, cows get very angry and they will get very physical if they have to, but they don't fight with each other for the sake of it, like the bulls do. And even young calves won't fight like the bulls do. Okay. We're going to carry on from them. They're going into a thick block. They'll probably end up at the first waterhole that Lauren went to, and we're going to carry on towards the northeast now. Have you had a good sighting of them? There may be others. But we won't go bashing in there after them. It was very satisfying. It's a big herd. Puma, yes, I did receive your telepathic question. I'm sorry I didn't answer it earlier. It was just that I was concentrating really hard on those fighting elephants. And the answer to your telepathic question is, of course, that bulls sometimes fight with cows, but that only really happens when the cows are chasing young bulls out of the herd. Then you will see the aggression and strength of the elephant cows as she chases away the young bulls who are behaving like those ones. Thank you, Puma, for your telepathic question. Right, so we're going to head up back into that sort of area around where we had Tundi's tracks. Tundi, a leopardess we enjoy following very much, and we have followed for many years. But if she wants to reveal herself, she will. If she doesn't, she won't. This is, of course, my last drive for quite a long time, so it would be very nice if she did pitch up. In the meantime, let's go back to Ngala, where they have managed to find a pride. I'm pretty sure it must be the Birmingham pride.
So we did manage. Okay, so we did manage to find these lions. these 3 here. So we got 2 on the left, and then we have 3 on the right. So these are 3 of the females from the Birmingham Pride. Now, what we have here is this one that you can just see the sort of, oh, the one, let's go with the one that you can see the face. So this is one of those sort of middle-aged females. And then this one over here, that Marcel has just panned across to. So that is the female. She is the mother of the older white lion. So it's very strange though, because, you know, from where they are to where the pride is very, very far. It's a very long distance. So what, they're about 7, 8 kilometers. And it's strange though, because there's no reason for them to be separated that we know of. You know, we can't see any tracks of them hunting. We think there was a fight. But, you know, all of these ones seem to be perfectly fine. We have seen 2 of them stand up. We've seen 2 of them walk. And they looked perfectly well, you know, healed. They didn't have any injuries, any wounds, something like that. So a bit of a surprise that they are so separated, especially because all their cubs are back with the rest of the pride, back with the lead female. Okay, so you can see here, these ones are all sleeping for now. They're resting. It's still quite hot here at andBeyond in Ngala. So we're going to stay here and watch them sleep. And hopefully when they do get up, do some activity, the signal will be working with us and we will bring you back here. In the meantime, we send you back across to Lauren at Djuma.
Oh, watching lions sleep, I know the feels. It's a wonderful, but tiresome thing to do. It makes you feel tired watching lions sleep. Now, I just love driving Chitwa. The roads are so silky smooth. It's the only way I can think to describe them. It's like velvet. It's perfect. And the tracks just stand out so clearly. The roads are really not that bumpy either. Now, Chitwa attracts dogs. It attracts a lot of dogs. And as you know, we had Kuchava here recently with cub for about 6 days on end on the same tree in Chitwa. And Sabui pops in here as well. So it's always just worth checking. There's not many vehicles out at the moment. The Sabi Sands in general is very, very quiet. So no one's going to report anything, so you may as well check. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Don't think I'm going to get very lucky, but it's always worth checking. Rowan, I think everything we do here is trying to help the animals. And what I mean by that is, yes, we're taking you on a live safari drive. Is that it? No. We're trying to connect you to nature. So for those of you who maybe are stuck at home, I think everybody's stuck at home right now, or maybe you can't travel or you've never been to Africa before, we're trying to allow you to experience it. And yes, it's maybe through a TV or your laptop or even your iPhone, but we're trying to make you feel like you're right on the safari vehicle with us, connecting you to the animals that we see. Be it a butterfly, be it a bird, the small things are important too. It's not all about the predators and it's not all about the big things. It's about everything that works together to create this ecosystem. So we're trying to connect you all to nature in any way that we can. Sometimes we do a really good job of it. Sometimes we do a really horrible job of it. Sometimes we can't find anything, but along that sort of process, we're trying to teach you things and engage and discuss. I love having discussions. I like to be told that I'm wrong so that we can then discuss and maybe both learn. And it's about being on the journey together, a literal journey and, well, a metaphorical journey together. from all around the world. We've got viewers watching in South America, in India, in Britain, in various parts of Africa. So I think that's what we do to help the animals. Connect you to them so that you learn about them, you begin to care about them, and you'll want to protect them yourselves. Okay, I think I'm going to go through a bit of a signal dip here. So as I bumble on down, we are going to send you guys back across to Sean and his sleepy lions.
Okay, so we're back here. So this one has lifted up her head. So now this is one of the older lionesses. And what's happened is the lioness that we were looking at on our right hand side decided to stand up. And she's now actually standing right behind the car. You can just see a little bit of her ear. So this female here just woke up because she heard the footsteps. So she's just looking around to see what it is that was walking. You know, it could have been something that maybe she wanted to hunt or something that she needed to run from. She just got up to have a look. But look at that, beautiful eyes. Look at that one eye catching a bit of the sun. Beautiful, beautiful amber color. What I was saying to you earlier though, it's just so strange, for me at least, that they are so separated from the pride. I mean, it would be interesting to have a look at the whole pride, to see who got in the fight and who attacked who, what happened. As I said, I mean, all of these females here have cubs. And they've left them. It's not unheard of. Very often, lionesses will leave their cubs, especially when they're very young. At this age, though, you know, it's not really necessary. And I was thinking, okay, maybe they caught something and these ones were eating and the rest of them, they got separated during the hunt. But when the one behind us stood up, she looked quite skinny. She looked quite... Okay, Gabriel. So Gabriel, living in the UK, is 11 years old. Gabriel, lions are not colorblind. No, they can see color. Not in the variety that you see color, though, Gabriel. So they can see certain shades, but not to the extent that humans can see color. Their eyesight's more, you know, adapted for night vision, where there's not really necessary to see different colors. They're more movement based, and you're more light based. So you get two things in your eyes, Gabriel. You get roans and cods. Cones and rods. A number of each. Can't speak today. And so one lets in more light and one absorbs more color. So the lions have the one that lets in more light, as opposed to humans who have ones with more color. But yes, so Gabriel, they can see in color, just not to the extent that we humans can. But then their vision is much, much greater than ours. Just, you know, they're got a long distance ability, and their night vision, Gabriel, is phenomenal. But you can see that, as I was saying, you know, it's still relatively hot. I mean, look where these two lionesses have lain down. You know, a small little patch of shade. There's not much around here, very small bushes. And the two of them have just decided to cuddle very, very close together in the small patch of shade that they could find. I think the other female is actually now lying behind the car in the shade of the car. Remember, they did that in the river 4 days ago. They came in, they sat in the shade of the car. But I think today will be a little bit different. We should get a bit earlier activity from these lions. Purely because, firstly, they're separated from the pride. And it's not as hot. You can see the grass in the screen there shaking. So that's the wind. There's a nice cooling breeze blowing at the moment, which should prompt a bit more activity. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, you know, I'm just a little bit confused as to why the pride split up. Okay, Disney Girl. No, none of these lions in the Birmingham Pride show any signs of mange. Actually, none of the lions on Ngala at the moment, and beyond Ngala, show any sign of mange, Disney Girl, which is fantastic. When I first arrived here, 2017, there was a little bout of mange, and most of this pride did have it. A lot of them did recover, but about 7 of the younger ones, 7 of the cubs, unfortunately, they all died from the mange. So it is a bad thing, and it does happen. But luckily at the moment, they're all very healthy. These lions are in very, very good condition. Especially the one that we had now, that just lay down. You know, this is a lioness that is now 14 years old. Which is old. It is very old. Especially out here in the wild. It's very, very old. But she's still in phenomenal condition. I was hoping that we were going to find them Berry Pride this morning. And they also got 2 very old females. I'd say probably the same age as this female here. But you can see the physical difference between them. This female, she's big, she's bulky, she's healthy, she's in great condition. Where those other 2, you can see that they are old. They're not very big, they don't look very strong, they move pretty slowly. They just don't look as good. These Birmingham females, they got some fantastic genes. And you can see it in their cubs. The cubs are big, healthy, beautiful looking lions. Maybe it's because they sleep close on 18 hours a day, these lions. Birmingham Pride is notoriously lazy. They will often sleep for many hours. Maybe that's got something to do with their good condition. And they're good hunters. They're phenomenal hunters. I mean, we saw the other day, so we had them eating a buffalo, and then like a week later, Rowan found them eating a wildebeest, and then we found them eating another wildebeest, and then we saw them eating a waterbuck. Okay, Hannah, just go back to Disney Girl's comment. Hannah wants to know what mange is. So, Hannah, mange is, it's a mite. It's a little bug, a mite, that gets into the fur of animals. And so on the lions, it gets into like the skin, the hair follicle, and it causes the hair to fall out. So all of these lions' fur fell out. You know, a lot of these females, they, you know, had food, they had the energy, the resources in their body to fight back against the mites and the mange. So they were just sort of patchy. But a lot of the cubs, you know, that were young and growing and their body never had spare resources, and they couldn't fight the mange, their body couldn't combat against these little mites destroying their hair follicles or fur follicles. And so all of their fur fell out. Doesn't sound so bad, but you know, imagine one of these lions now, all of their fur is gone. They got nothing. Then in the day, the sun just cooks their skin, and they get hot, and the skin can crack and dry out and things like that. And then at night, you know, it gets frightfully cold here. We can drop into sometimes single digits. Early morning, we're in single digits. So now these lions, because of the mange, all of their fur's fallen out, they get extremely, extremely cold. You know, then it's just an endless cycle of really, really cold, really, really hot, really, really cold, really, really hot. And it's just, that's how most of them died. So the mange is a bad thing. It's a very bad thing. It can happen to domestic animals as well. Your domestic dog, I'm assuming your domestic cat as well, can suffer from it. But it is a natural occurring sort of disease. And so, you know, we just let it happen. And in your domestic animals, your pets, it is fairly easy to cure. You give them a couple of drops, and the mites, I'm not sure if they die or they run away, but you give them a few drops of an ointment and they heal. So the mange in itself, Hannah, is not life-threatening. Like the mites are not going to, you know, bite you or bite the lions and sort of poison them or anything. It's just the side effects of the hair loss that causes a lot of the animals to then die. which is quite sad, but luckily, since 2017 we haven't had any other cases, any other situations of the mange coming through. So we've been, very lucky. So we got another question. I think the name was Amparo. Wanted to know how the changing of the seasons affects the behavior of the lions. Amparo, please forgive me if I got your name wrong. But it has quite an effect, actually. So it gets much colder. So now what that means is these lions can be active for a lot longer, a much wider portion of the day. See, in summer we're hitting 45 degrees Celsius. So the lions will sleep, as I said, 18, 20 hours a day. Where now in the winter it gets much cooler, much earlier, the sun sets earlier. So the lions can be active a lot earlier in the evening and stay active a lot later into the morning. So their active periods become a little bit longer. And what we also find them doing is, if you remember 4 days ago, we saw them in the river, they were lying in the sun. They know it's going to be cold at night. They know it's going to be cold in the morning. So they will come and sit in the sun, as the sun's sort of just about to set in those dusk periods, to just get warm and hopefully hold some warmth into the night. So it's small little behavioral changes. In terms of hunting strategies, things like that, doesn't change too much. They hunt maybe a bit more around sort of water sources, because that's where a lot of the animals are going to be hanging out, a lot of the prey species. So it's mainly small things, but if you spend the time here over the years, over the months of the years, you will sort of pick up those little changes in behavior. But while we watch the three of them sleep, what we're going to do is send you back across, I think, to Lauren.
Hello again, everybody. We're just back at Guaripan here, where we last had tracks of Thandi the leopardess. Had some more tracks on the road, but they were from yesterday, and I'm pretty sure they're the ones that Bernie from Torchwood followed on his way to getting here. Phew. Well, we'll keep going. We don't have a huge amount of light left, so I think we'll just keep on trucking. Now remember, if you're enjoying our drive, and well, why shouldn't you be? We've had lovely elephants, we've had some good chat, we've had lions, hippopotamus. Please do consider supporting us. You can do that using the website wildearth.tv/support. That's wildearth.tv/support. Any help that you can give to us would be greatly appreciated. So we're just going to slowly, gently ooze down through here, looking up in all the trees, under all the bushes, beyond all the termite mounds, and maybe this time round we'll be lucky. I'm sure there'll be some other interesting stuff regardless. Let's confess, however, that I wouldn't normally choose to drive this road. It does result in a great deal of spinal compaction. Ladaya, you're in Texas and wondering if there are cows in Africa. I'm assuming you mean cattle. There are cattle in Africa. There are lots of different kinds of cattle in Africa. There are lots of interesting different kinds of cattle in Africa. Some famous ones, include those giant horned things of the Sudan. I think it's Sudan, where you get the very famous Nguni cattle of South Africa. You get Zebu cattle in South Africa. The Maasai, which is a large group of people that live between Tanzania and Kenya, are basically, their entire economy, their whole being, their whole society revolves around cattle. So yes, cattle have been in Africa for a very long time, since probably, I think since pretty soon after they were domesticated. It must have been somewhere around, when was it? Say, when were cattle domesticated? About 5,000 years ago, plus minus? maybe even longer, 8,000 years ago. And I'm pretty sure that cattle came into Africa out of the Middle East pretty soon after that. There were an animal called the auroch was domesticated, a wild animal, and that's what eventually became cattle. And it occurred in the Fertile Crescent and in northern Africa, I think. So yes, plenty of cattle in Africa. And you know, even out here, in the rural areas and in many other parts of Africa, not just with the Maasai, cattle represents a form of currency, a very important form of currency and savings almost. So that's cattle. I keep seeing different holes and things in the trees and bits of bark hanging off that look like draped limbs, but they aren't. We'll go back to Ngala shortly. We're just trying to re-establish communications with them. Sorry, I looked up. I looked up off the road and drove into a hole. Sorry, David. Can't do that around here. I thought I saw something, but it was just a stick with a vague, cattish sort of a shape. All right, we've re-established communications with Ngala. Let's go back there and find out how the Birmingham Pride are doing. The mange-free Birmingham Pride.
Okay, so it seems like we're back on. Not much has changed here. We had a quick lift up of the female's head, and then it smells like she farted, and it smells terrible for us. But then she went back to sleep. So not all that much activity. Now you can see that female at the back has not responded. It's a bit of a surprise, but maybe she's just downwind, and then it's okay for her. It turns out the one behind us is indeed, like I thought, lying down in the shade of the car. But we have just got an update from Eric, actually. Eric says that they have found the one lioness that has the cubs. And she is walking now. She's heading back towards her den area. So we went past there earlier today and she wasn't there, so she was obviously out patrolling or exploring, or maybe she had food, I'm not sure, but they found her heading back there. So what we're going to do, we're probably going to spend maybe another 5 or so minutes here, and once, just to see if there is any activity. If they don't do anything, these 3 lionesses, then we're most likely going to make our way back up there, have a look, see what we can find. Otherwise, if they do stand up, they do start moving, maybe heading towards that water hole I told you about, it might be worth our while to actually spend some time with them, follow them, see what they're doing. Be quite interested to see where they go tomorrow. I want to know, maybe they join up with the rest of the pride, or they're going to stay down here, do some hunting by themselves. You must remember, with the pride are the Ross males, and if they hunt with the Ross males there, the Ross males are going to steal their food and eat pretty much all of it, especially if they catch something small. We're just turning over. Here we got a question from Alpha Mayo, wanting to know how close we are to the lions right now. So Alpha Mayo, I would say that the one behind us is pretty close. It's lying right in the shade of the car, so that's maybe 2 meters. And these other ones here, as you can see in the screen, I'd say they're probably about 5, roughly about 5 meters, plus or minus. Her head's now on a bush, so I can't see exactly resting. But yeah, I'd say about 5 meters. From the car, you can see they're just there. So look, they're pretty close. They're pretty close. But we know these lions. We know their behaviors. Look at them. Fast asleep. They're not even looking at us. We talking. muscles, coughing. It's perfectly fine. You know, they're not responding, they're not reacting in any way, they're not showing any signs of being uncomfortable or getting agitated or being, you know, upset, aggressive, anything like that. So when we came in here, we stopped a little bit further away, and then these 3 lionesses actually walked around to get some shade. So we would never drive this close to one of these lions, but if we stop and they walk towards us to find shade, then that's perfectly fine, because they will go where they feel comfortable going. But you can see this one just rolled over. I think they're going to be quite lazy. So what we're going to do, we'll spend a couple more minutes, like I said, and then we might change our plans. But in the meantime, we'll send you back across to Lauren, hopefully, with some elephants.
I just have one elephant, actually. It's a huge bull. It's a bull that I recognize. Now, if you can pick out key identification features, you can actually recognize the individual. This is a bull I always see on Zoe's roads. Now, he's huge. We're not blocking his path, but I'm just going to keep a close eye on him right now. A little handsome. See, he's torn here. His left ear is extremely torn. Hello. I see you. You're so handsome. He's leaking from his penis. This is a huge must bull.
Yeah, okay. These lions made another.
Can you smell that, PK? I love that smell. Now we can't turn the car on right now, so we're going to have to give you these views. So it's not going to be the best views, but PK will do his best. He's in must. He's in the peak of his must. You can smell him. He's leaking from his penis, and he's just huge. Just gonna watch out. He's not displaying any aggressive displays, but I just want to keep my eye on him. He's coming to the car again. Excuse our antenna and the aerial. Hello, sir. I'm not here to hurt you. We just want to love you. Now, the reason I'm still talking, everyone, in case you're wondering why is Lauren talking in a sighting, is just to keep the tones the same, to keep the noise the same, so that basically I'm not suddenly going quiet and I'm not suddenly being loud. There's no sudden movements to give him a fright. If I just keep talking the way I was talking when he approached us, nothing changes. I love that smell. I think I can turn now. BK's far away. It smells to me. It's very sour. It's very acidic. Slightly leathery, like a real leather handbag, old leather, with a little bit of honey thrown in. I'm just going to give him space because he's already inspected us. He's very big. I would say he's possibly a gentleman. Gentlemen's normally over 40 to 45 years plus, and I think this one's a gentleman. I really do. Now, the leaky penis sheath was actually thought to first be a venereal disease. Now, what that means is an STD, a sexually transmitted disease. Back in the day when scientists didn't understand why the elephant was leaking from his penis. I know it sounds really bizarre, but they thought that sexually transmitted diseases were sort of being passed among elephants. And they thought it was maybe a malfunction of the muscles in the penis sheath, and it was caused from a disease that had been transmitted through sex. But of course they did understand that it was witnessed across many males who were in perfect health, in great condition. And they slowly started to understand that it's a reproductive signal, and it's an essential one, because according to science, the females cannot resist it, cannot resist the smell that comes from the urine off the penis sheath. That's actually what's dribbling. It's urine. It's nothing else. And the pheromones will tell the females that this is a big, dominant bull in his prime, and they can't resist. So it's not a disease. It's a condition, or a symptom, sorry, of must. I wish I could sense smells. If I could change the safaris that we do in any way, it would be to be able to send smells to you. We can let you hear, we can let you see, but we can't let you smell. Now, must, the actual word that we use, it describes temporary madness, just like the rutting season with the impalas. And it was first, there's disagreements about the origin, but it's said to sort of come from Urdu or Persian origins. And the word is mast with an A, and what it means basically is intoxicated. And that's the word that they gave elephant bulls, mast, which over the sort of years has turned into must. And it was given due to their temporary state of madness, because their behavior changes, their hormone changes, they become aggressive. They almost look like they're out of control. They're not, but that's actually where the word must stems from. Not only do the penises leak, but they can also go green. And when they go green, this is also a sign of a bull in must. They go green and white. It looks bizarre. And this was also thought to be something very, very wrong with the bulls. Very wrong. And scientists discovered it to try and see what on earth could be wrong with these bulls that have a green penis. And eventually, same thing. It's part of must, or the symptoms of it. And again, it's another thing that the ladies cannot resist. So they did a study with females to see who they were attracted to the most. Males with normal coloured penises or males with green ones. I know, it sounds very strange, but it's very relevant. And the females always 100% chose the males with the green penis. Don't think that would quite work in humans, but anyway. And it's obviously a sign of dominance, a sign of testosterone, a sign of just a fantastic male to choose for the genes of the offspring of your children. Now, Madison, I think you were asking, do animals ever interact with us? We've got two grey go-away birds up there. Hello. Please don't go away. I love the calls of these birds. They're so fantastic. Yes, sometimes animals do. That bull was definitely interacting with us on a sort of quieter level. He was inspecting us. He came, I would say, 1 meter, 3 feet away from the car. And yeah, he was interacting with us. He was checking us out. They never tried to touch us, but I do have elephants that have tried to touch the vehicle. I had oh, what just happened there? Did he regurgitate something? I swear I saw something come out of this individual's mouth. This is a grey go-away bird. A fantastic bird. And their call, I can't actually play it on my phone because I wouldn't want the birds to react to it, but the call sounds like, go away, go away. I think that did it justice, actually, and that's where the name comes from. Just very cool birds. They're closely related to turacos, and of course they're grey in colour, hence the grey go-away bird, and they're very noticeable from this sort of mohawk feather fashion statement that they're going for. Aren't they gorgeous? They sometimes will yell at predators too, and you'll hear them saying, go away, go away, go away. Look at this one's BK. The most fashionable birds in the bush, I must say. I want a haircut like that. Okay. I'm not sure where we're going to bumble to now, but I'm going to bumble somewhere. And as I do that, you guys are going to bumble across to James.
Here we have got the little grebe family at the Buffelshoek Action Station. Now that cheeping sound that you can hear, that sounds like day-old chicks. I don't know if in your parts of the world if they still bring out day-old chicks for Easter. They used to do it for us when we were very little kids. But that's exactly the sound that these things are making, and it's a begging sound. And both of them are doing it. They sound nothing like that when they're adults. Oh, they are too cute. They're also getting very big. They grow up so fast. These ones are getting nice and close too. Very skillful splitting up of the parental duties. No, Captain Simone, grebes are not very closely related to ducks at all. They are rather dissimilar. I don't know when their last common ancestor was, but they're in a totally different family. And in actual fact, if you look at them carefully, they don't look like ducks. Their beaks are totally different. If you look at their feet, yes, they're webbed, but not like a duck's feet are webbed. They've got sort of really wide toes as opposed to proper webbing like a duck's feet have got. Yeah, they're just very different. You can hear the hippos going. Lovely sound. We were talking about our favourite sounds other than birds today. That's certainly one of mine. Gabriel, you know what? I can name the baby grebes because I'm leaving tomorrow, which means that I can't get in trouble for naming them. Let's name them right now, Gabriel, you and I. You pick one name, I'll pick the other. I'm going to name my one, and my one's going to be the one far from us there. I'm going to name that one Harold. Harold the grebe. Right, Gabriel, quick as you can, tell us what you're naming your one. Harold the grebe, everybody, it's official. It's definitely its name forever and ever and ever. Amen. Now cannot ever be changed. Harold the grebe. Come on, Gabriel, up to you now. You get to name the other one. I have decreed it so. Yes, there is going to be complaint on Twitter. Yes, there is going to be probably death threats to me, but I don't care. Harold it is. And Gabriel, you name the other one. Just don't tell anyone where you're from in England. Otherwise you'll have people banging down your door with placards. Sammy Jane, you say not Harold. No, we're going to call this one Harold. It's a good grebe name, that. Strong grebe name. Harold McGrebe. Would you give us a name quickly? Gabriel, I hope that you're typing furiously. Aged 11. I should make it a... I should really throw some cats amongst pigeons now. I should drive as fast as I can to the hyena den and name those cubs too. Gabriel, you're going to name yours Zahir. Perfect. Zahir and Harold McGrebe are the two little grebes that live here at Bivelshoek Waterhole. Thank you, Gabriel. So yours is that one there, that's Zahir and his mother. I don't know what his mum's name is. She was named long time ago. And we've got little Harold at the back waiting for his dad to come up. Perfect. Well, that was very successful. Well done, Gabriel. I feel like between the two of us, we've achieved something quite special this afternoon. We've named the grebes, and best of all, we've done it totally unilaterally. We haven't asked for anyone else's opinion, and there's nothing anyone can do. On we go, before Twitter explodes. Harold would like to offer his 2 cents. Not Harold, Marcel would like to offer his 2 cents. Not taking your 2 cents, Marcel. You can keep your 2 cents. You can keep them for sure, because unfortunately, before you got in with your name, Gabriel had got in with his. So Harold and Zahir it is. It's the first time that's ever happened. Goodbye, Harold. See you hopefully next time round. Stay safe. Zahir, same thing. At least come up out of the water and thank you. Goodbye, Zahir. Good old Zahir and Harold. Yes. Yeah, and old Natalie, not old Natalie, just Natalie, in final control, saying that, you know, she feels quite emotional now because we found those little chicks she was on drive when we found them. And there it is. Now they've been named Harold and Zahir. Should rush back to the dam in front of camp, name those two, go to the hyena dam, name them, then find Tundi's cubs and name them too, out tomorrow. I'll never be invited back if that happens. All right, let's go to Lauren while I find some more animals to name.
Oh, James, you're so naughty. Don't you dare name my hyena cubs. Auntie Lauren wants either Rib and Rob or Bo and Ty. And I'm going to explain something to you in a very dramatic way, I imagine. I'm going to take my porky pointer in case I need it. So, no, I'm attached. Lauren, you're attached. That's right. I always forget that I'm attached to a name piece. Now, we look at tracks, okay? We're always looking down at the ground. Even when you think we're not looking down at the ground, we are looking down at the ground. Now, animals have evolved in different ways, okay? So there's different types of foot structures. I'm going to try and do my best to demonstrate elegantly. Humans, bears, red pandas, raccoons, primates, we have evolved a foot structure called the plantigrade. So when I walk with my whole foot. The heel goes down first for most people, then the toe. Heel, toe, heel, toe. It's not very elegant if you think about it in comparison to other organisms. And your whole foot from the heel all the way down, your toes and your metatarsals are on the ground. Okay, it's noisy, it's loud, you can hear me coming, not very graceful. So that's the most primitive type of foot structure that you can get. But along the lines of evolution, the predators needed to somehow have an advantage, and the advantage is to be silent so that the prey don't hear you coming. If the prey can hear Lauren, come in. I'm never going to catch anything. Now, I'm obviously not the predator, but the next step up from plantigrade is digitigrade. And what this means is when the animals walk on their toes. So their heels are up, almost like they're in step. And if you think of your lions and your leopards, they walk very delicately on their toes. Here, they'll have another pad and they'll have a dew claw. That's their heel. So if you think of a lion and a leopard, predators, they'll walk on their toes like this. It's not very easy for me to do that, but you can see it's a lot quieter and it's a lot easier to walk that way than it is to walk this way. But still, my goodness, that game drive video gone. I don't know if BK can turn it down. So, the next step in evolution from that is the ungulates. And the ungulates are your antelopes, your hooved animals. You get your odd-toed and your even-toes. Now, they need to have an advantage to be able to escape predators. It's a red queen. It's a race, the arms race of evolution. The predator goes ahead, then the prey goes ahead. So what the next step is from being on your toes, this is the trickiest one, is from being right on your tippy toes. Like a ballerina. I'm not a ballerina, everyone. Just in case you thought I was. I almost did it. Did you get that, PK? That would be how an ungulate walks. And this is called ungulagrade. Right on the very, very tips of their toe. They've developed hard keratin layer, a hoof. And that means that they can walk so silently. They barely even leave a track mark. So it goes from plantigrade to then being on your toes, digitigrade to then being right on the ends of your toes, which is ungulagrade. And that's the sort of evolution of foot structure. And it has sort of came about that way for those reasons. Predators needed to have stealth, and in the prey, they need to be even stealthier in order to escape the predators. So when we're looking at tracks on the ground, some tracks will have different impact on the ground than others. Humans, when you see Jamesy's track from running or Lauren's track from trying to run, has a completely different indentation into the terrain than the likes of a lion and a leopard, because they're walking so softly on those pads. I thought I would give you a little demonstration. I would give you a demonstration of the evolution of foot structure. And that's why it's evolved, and everything is constantly evolving, because nothing is constant, especially in nature. Nothing is static and absolutely nothing is constant, and therefore things need to keep moving. And that's why we have evolved this long line of different foot structures. I'm not sure I did a very good job of that demonstration, but I hope it made sense. So the impalas quite literally are walking on the tips of their toes, literally. And even when it comes to digitigrades, you will talk about your lions and your leopards, predominantly your predators, walking birds will also be classified as digitigrade. And that sort of joint that you would maybe think of as the knee, because it looks like it's at the knee, think of a lapwing, it's actually not the knee. It's more so the ankle than it would be the knee, but it's just slightly higher up. That's why we think it's the knee. So walking birds can also be classified as digitigrade. Okay, I'm going to quarantine for sunset. One, because the views will be spectacular, and two, I hope to see a spotted cat of some sorts. Now that it's colder, now that we are really, really into winter, the predators will start moving earlier. And I've only got a handful of days left before I go on leave. I really want to catch up with all my characters before I do. Quarantine is so magnificent. Which way shall we go, BK? BK's busy putting his jumper on. Are you cold? Yeah, it's time to put the layers on. I'm sure I'll have my other fleece on soon. Okay, as I study the ground for all sorts of tracks from all sorts of organisms, we are going to send you back across to Sean at Ngala for an update.
So we have left those 3 lazy females. Now they were fast asleep, and we've come in search of that other lioness I told you about. So the other rangers had her here. So they had her actually off to our right, walking along these sort of power lines that you can't see because they're above us. And to the left is where her den is. That's where Rowan had her with the 2 cubs yesterday, was down that way. So she was walking this way. The other rangers looped around to go to the den to wait there to see if she was coming. They're obviously not waiting at the den, they're waiting much further back from it, but in an area where they can see the path that she would take. So we are coming here to have a look. So there's a whole lot of impala in this area, and they all seem pretty relaxed. They don't seem like they have seen a lion, or a lioness rather. So we're trying to figure out, is she either stalking them and they just haven't seen her yet, or is she trying to avoid them? She's trying not to attract any attention to her. If she is walking back towards her cubs, she doesn't want something like hyenas or maybe other male lions in the area potentially following her. Because especially hyenas, they would follow Impala's alarm calling and think maybe they can get a meal. And if she walks past, they will call, and then the hyenas would follow, which is not good. So she could be trying to avoid them, in which case we're hoping she would deviate and come up in this direction. So that's why we are driving quite slowly down here, hoping to see if she crosses this road. I just want to answer this quickly. Go ahead. These are the people that are waiting. Okay, so it sounds like they have seen her. Looks like she's going to go across the river straight towards where her cubs are. So we're quickly going to loop around that way and see if we can catch her making her way back towards that den. Okay, copy that. I'm going to make my way from power lines in Ngala Loop. This is why it is so important, well, so helpful for us rather. To have, as many people out as possible, because a situation like this, you got to look around, you got to help out. So while we get there, it's relatively far, we're going to drive, and in the meantime, we're going to send you back to Lauren.
I'm just watching 2 Ngala bulls. We have one over here and one here. Now, nothing is happening quite at the moment, but Ngala bulls are known for giving quite the show when they want to. Now, they normally do something called lateral presentation. And I think James, I can't remember if it was Trishala or James, but one of them had an incredible sighting the other day with 2 Ngala bulls doing exactly that. They present themselves. They try to make themselves look the largest, the longest, the biggest, and it's a magnificent thing to see. But also that they can fight to the death. Ngala bulls can fight, and it can be very, very dangerous, and they are known to fight to the death. So one seems to be following the other as if trying to engage, and it'll be a dominance thing, but the other one's not responding. You see what he's doing with his head? Now, I recently came back from Ethiopia, as some of you may know, with Davi, and they have an endemic subspecies of Ngala up there called the mountain Ngala. And if any of you are on your computers or your phones, Google it, the mountain Ngala of Ethiopia. And it's incredible, because I've spent so much time with these Ngalas that when you do then see the Ethiopian mountain Ngala, I'm just going to go forward, BK. This one's trying to engage the other one. I can't see where they are. They are huge. They're much bigger. They don't have as shaggy or a coat. You can definitely tell it's an Ngala, but they really do look different. They have far more body mass, longer legs, they're taller, and it's fascinating. It's so fascinating to see a species that looks like a species that you know, but it's not, if that makes any sense. Okay, I don't know where the other one's gone. But that's lovely watching this bull walk into the sunset. Look at that. Crafty Stash, good to hear from you. And no, they don't. They don't all rut at the same time. The most famous one, of course, is the impalas because it has very widespread and it relies on the environmental cues of day length and the moon, which brings on a biological change in the form of testosterone. But no, they don't. They don't all rut at the same time. But I've noticed recently the Nyalas are really starting to act dominant and territorial. So I do wonder if the Nyala season is upon us as well. But as for the likes of the Steenbok, who have monogamous partners, they do not have a rutting season because they have their partner. They do not need to compete for the ladies in such a way. So it really depends on the social structure of the species in question as to how they will behave at certain times of the year. That was such a beautiful scene of that male Nyala just walking out of the conversation just like that at the sunset. I saw something moving over there, but I don't think it was anything, BK. I'm temporarily blinded by the sun here. But yes, no, they don't all run at the same time. It really depends on their social structure. But the impala rutting season, I think, is the most famous and it's the largest because it's so vocal and it goes on for quite a prolonged period until the ladies are brought on. Well, the male's behaviour brings them into estrus, so that's another sort of behavioural cue that brings on a biological cue, and then they will start mating. They're both here. They don't actually seem to be too interested in one another. Are you? What are you really up to, mister? There's one here, BK. He's just walking through the grass. You can see how tall the grass still is in this part, in this neck of the woods. Hello. Now, endemic species are, of course, species that are found in one geographical area only. And when it comes to conservation and the element of being endangered, it's worrying because you don't find them anywhere else. So please do Google that mountain in Nyala. I will also find a photo on my phone for you all and share it the next time you see me. But for now, you guys are going to go back across to James for an update.
We are just driving in the setting sun, the light perfect for any animal to appear in front of us so that we may gaze upon its golden halo as the sun goes down. And the animal that we'll look at is in fact the fork-tailed drongo. Ha! Oh, no we won't, it's gone. No, what about those white-crested helmet shrikes there, David? There we are, middle of frame. See, the white-crested helmet shrike in fact looks yellow because the light is so gold. He looks quite embarrassed that I've announced him so. Always a good idea just to stop and have a listen. White-browed scrub robins. And the doves. As another day draws to a close in the Lowveld. What a very special part of the world this is. Oh, Bill, my wife doesn't tell me her plans for me until it's, time to do them. So I'm sure that there's a fairly long list of instructions that I'll be given tomorrow. Tomorrow I have to drive to Durban. And I'm hoping that I'll be given a couple of hours off when we get the other end. And then I guess I'll start work again for her on Friday. Maybe she'll give me a day off. There we go. Apparently I will be doing the editing for our series. Me, my wife, and the wildlife. Episode 2 coming. What is today? Today is Thursday. Yes, today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. It's coming tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 6:30. The premiere is on YouTube. Set your watches. You don't even have to set too much time aside. It's not very long. This one features ground squirrels. Yes, Kathy, I will post photographs while I'm on leave. I've just got to find things to take photographs of. And it depends where I end up. We're hoping to go down to the Eastern Cape, where hopefully we'll be able to spend some time in the game reserve. Alternatively, I guess it'll just be pictures of Fenton or my father cutting the grass with a pair of scissors because they sold the mower and now the garden service isn't operating, and so they can't really find their way to the bottom of the garden anymore. There might be wildlife in the garden. Thank you, Kathy. I will do my best to post pictures on Instagram. Who? Seamstone. Seamstone. Deanstone. Deanstone, there are no other mammals that fly other than bats. There are, of course, those squirrels, which they call flying foxes, I think. But they don't really fly, they glide. They do a bit of gliding, they don't really do flying. For me, flying requires the ability to actually create lift and take off. I mean, all mammals can fly if they jump off something high enough, really, by the definitions of the flying fox's flying skills. I don't think there are any others, unless I've completely lost my mind. Dumbo's not real, so he can't fly. There's a bit of fire in the atmosphere, which is odd, I'd have thought. Unless it's people burning stuff for heating in the communities on the west. But I wonder if there isn't a forest that's on fire somewhere. Because none of this grass will burn now. Well, I mean, you might just be able to get a very gentle fire burning through here, but hardly. But it smells like smoke. Oh, Ngala is on fire this afternoon. I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively, and they've got another wonderful thing to show you.
We are literally not on fire, but figuratively, James, you're correct, we are on fire. So there is the mother. She is obviously now returned to the den. You might recognize that area. And just to her right, there you can see in the grass a little bit of movement now, just on the sort of right hand side of your screen. You can see there in the grass, you can see a tail flicking and ear twitching. Those are the two youngsters, so they're sort of playing around now. They keep moving up and down. Sometimes they go jump on top of the mother. See, look now. There we go, look at them playing right on the back. So I think what happened was the mother was out patrolling, maybe looking for a hunting opportunity. Now that it's getting dark, getting dangerous, she has come back to suckle the youngsters. So they were suckling. They were suckling as we arrived. And now they have just been playing sort of rough and tumble the whole time. You see the mother, she wakes up every now and then to watch. Especially if they go a little bit further away into that grass. She will lift up her head, watch them, see what they're doing. But as long as they stay quite close to her, it's perfectly fine. You can see her tail flicking up every now and then. Oh, there they go. So, I think her name was Sis, or Sis, or Sass. Anyway, they want to know if a male lion dies and no one takes over the pride, what happens? So, generally nothing, hey? The pride will carry on. You know, all of the females in the pride will carry on hunting. If there are still some cubs, they will just carry on growing. And, you know, the pride will survive as it is perfectly fine. But that will not last long. A male will come and take over. If he does that in a week, or if he does that in 3 months, but a male will come into the area and will take over. Male lion territories, you know, they're constantly shifting as new males move in, and they dominate a certain area and they slowly press into another coalition's territory. So there's constantly shifting territories, constant battles. If one lion dies and that territory becomes sort of available, there are a number of coalitions area who win and take over that land pretty quickly. I haven't heard really of a situation where males died and that pride has then never been, a new male has not come and reclaimed that pride. There will always be another male lion that will come in and take over control. Otherwise, you know, I'd imagine there'd be no difference. There just wouldn't be any new cubs. You know, the pride can't survive without the male. All the new cubs that are growing, if they are males, they will get chased away then by the females in the pride. Will chase them away. So all of that natural happenings will still happen without the male. There just won't be any guys to steal food. So lions would be able to sort of adapt, function, survive in that interim period before another male takes over. I mean, you'll see now, like the Birmingham Pride, most of the time they're without the male. So Spas wants to know if we can name these cubs. Now Spas, unlike James, I am not leaving tomorrow. So unfortunately we can't name the cubs. If we did name them, then maybe I would be leaving tomorrow. So right now we'll just have them as cubs. Maybe later on, we can name them. But yeah, we don't really name our animals. You know, especially something like this. You get this male. So apparently Rowan thinks one of them's a male, one of them's a female. And that male, in 3.5 years' time, he's going to leave. He's going to disappear, go into another reserve. And when he does that, that new reserve will most likely name him. But we don't want to name him, give him like a cool name and get attached and we like him, and then he leaves. You know? So, fortunately, we're not going to name these lions. But I heard you did name the little grebes. Not what I would have named them, but they are cool names, James. I do agree. Now, I don't know where they've gone. No, it looks like they're down a grassy bank. They're playing, probably wrestling, stalking each other, and just rolled down the bank. But it's fantastic that the mother is so sort of unconcerned about it. Because that's the sort of behavior that these cubs are going to feed off. It's the behavior that they're going to learn. So we're going to just wait, see if anything changes, see if these cubs do come back out, something like that. In the meantime, we'll link you back across to James, see what he has.
Well, we just kind of stopped here with these little nyalas, not really knowing if they were going to hang around or if they would move along, but here they are. And I just love their colours in amongst the early winter vegetation. The combination of the yellowing green, the honeyed grass, and the bright red of the nyalas. Now, we were asked a question earlier on by a kid about why it is that elephants are grey and not brownish. Manufacturing that brownish reddish colour, I think, is probably quite physiologically expensive relative to just being grey skinned. They're being so quiet and confiding. Christelle, because, as you well know, the English language is full of what can only be described as stupidities, where, for no rhyme or reason, we make arbitrary distinctions here and there. And it's not like a language like Zulu, for example, which you can learn rules and you can get by quite nicely by learning the rules and then learning the vocab. French probably quite similar. English not the same. So the reason that this thing is a ewe and not a cow is that it weighs less than 100 kilograms. Now, who decided that that should be the case? I don't know. But there it is. This one is a ewe because it is less than 100 kilos. And the Nyala male is a bull because he's more than 100 kilos. Or he's exactly 100 kilos. It's just a quirk of English. It is very cute. The little one behind is especially cute. Now, many of you will be very excited to hear the following. Tristan Dix has arrived in camp. Some of you won't know what I'm talking about, but tomorrow morning you will, when he finds you Tundian cubs. But at least we found a Nyala baby, you know? Maybe Tristan won't find you a Nyala baby. Well, not one that Tundi hasn't put in a tree. It's interesting that they are so confiding because they're nowhere close to a camp or a lodge, really. And normally they'd have to be. Let's go back to the little cubs at Ngala now. I think they're moving around a bit.
It'll come back. Okay, so the cubs came back. They were playing on the grass on the other side, and now they came back up to the side. So you see there, one just under the mother there, she was getting a bath. Well, the mother was giving the cub a bath. I don't know if it's the male or the female. You can see the other one. Now they're getting a bit braver. They're getting a bit more sort of playful. One of them actually popped out of the grass close to us. Well, on our side of the bank at least. And see, the mother's watching now. So this is roughly, another sort of 10, 15 odd minutes, and she might move them back to the den. But for now, she's getting them play. You can imagine these two have been cooped up inside of that bush for the last, pretty much the whole day, 10 hours. maybe even longer. They've been stuck inside there, just keeping quiet, lying still, not any attention. They got a religion now. Milk, have some food. So now they're full of energy. She's just letting them expend their energy, letting them play about. But eventually she will take them back inside of there. But now it's going to be so beautiful over the next couple months to these two. I mean, for you, for Rory, Eric, and for all of you viewers back at home, this is the most incredible timing. You know, sit you in the wood that as the camera come, that have allowed the crew to come and beyond and go, allowed us female to have her now. Okay, it seems like we're having a few signal issues. So while we try to sort those out, we're going to send you back to Djuma with Lauren.
Now we're trying to do something extra special for you all, but I think I've probably made a terrible job of it. We're trying to show you the sunrise minus the aerials and minus the power lines. We do have a gorgeous sunset, sorry. I just said sunrise. Isn't that beautiful? Just gonna let that tiny little slither of sun disappear. And just like that, it's gone. I hope you all enjoyed that. We are now going to send you back to Ngala to look at those cute little flat balls.
So now you can see as the sun's setting, we're getting a lot more activity from them. So we've now managed to determine it is most definitely a one male and one female, which is, I mean, it's lovely, it's fantastic. You know, it would have been better if it was either two males or two females, because now that one male is going to have a very tough time, very similar to the current young male that we have in the Birmingham Pride, all of our favourites, the injured one. You know, being by himself is going to be very... Look at that one playing on the mother's back. She's cleaning the one, and the other one is playing on top. Oh, look at the one that might come out of the grass. Just scan a bit right there, Marcel. Oh, no, turned around, ran back. But it's so incredible. Oh, look at them just playing around the back. It looks like there's a slight difference in colour between them. One looks to be a bit more sort of grey, and one seems to be a bit more brown. So that one there, that you can see the ears of the one at the back, they seem to be different. We need them both to face us so we can look at their faces. Oh, look, it's going to come out. They get so close. to the end of the grass. It's like they know that that's their boundary. Mother's been like, do not leave the grass. The sand is the shadowlands. They're not allowed there. Because they come just to the edge. So Natalie saying they've got a bit of stage fright because they come out into the sand when it's just the three of us watching, or two of us watching rather, and then when we go live they do have a bit of stage fright and run back in there. But we're gonna, oh look at it, just ran right over the top of the mother. Right over the top. You see, the mother's got a lot of patience. She's just sitting there letting all of this happen. Oh, is it gonna come out? Look on the left, look. It's coming out. Michael, just look, it's in the open. Michael, I'll get back to your question now. Look how cute it is. I can't even walk in the sand. It's just falling over everywhere. They're getting so much braver now. You see, look at that. Patience pays off. Michael, I know you asked the question and I'll get back to it. So Michael's question was, is this female the daughter of any of the females that have the white cub? So this female here is the daughter of the lead lioness of Idaho. So it's the one that we call the white dogs. Oh, it's looking at us. Look at it. Just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You might hear my camera click. I do apologize. But this is just incredible. For us, just lying down in the sand there. So I can't see us. This is the female. This one out in the open. Maybe a bit of a rebellious female. You know, more adventurous. Coming out, it looks like her brother's getting a bit of a wash, and she was like, no, I want to be involved in that fun. Straight on. Oh, she's going to suckle. So that's where the female's teeth. So we'll be seeing the female might up her back leg there, just to allow better access to the teeth for suckling. No. But yes, Michael, so this female here, the mother, is the daughter of the lead lioness of the Birmingham Pride. One we refer as the not one of you that we had earlier. None of them. Oh, looks like they're both going to come out into the open. You know, watch, they might like jump on each other, and so each other's from this early age, you know, but they're between sort of 6-7 weeks old, so still obviously very, very young. You saw how tiny that cute thing was when it came out. But even now, this play and this behavior is all vitally important. All vitally important. Oh, and there they disappear. Okay, so you see they disappeared. We're going to send you quickly across to James.
We found them. They're where I thought they were yesterday. I don't know where Mum is. And we heard the bird's alarm calling here, and there's the little leopard cub. Dave spotted them. He said there's some movement down there, but at the base of the tree. And there was a leopard cub. Hi, little guy. This is our third view of Tundy's cubs, hey? I don't know where Mum is. I don't know where the other one is, but I can hear the birds screaming just beyond this point, and I'm sure that's probably where Tundy is. that's the one. I'm just going to search around, and Dave will probably do the same for the second one. Tristan's in FC, and he reckons a little bit of white beyond that cub might be the tail of the second one. Yeah, I see what you mean there. You know, I walked in here this morning just about. I came to a term. Oh, there's Tundi. Just move very slowly. You can just see her fur there. Can you see her there, Dave? She's not looking at us. Everything's fine. She's not about to get up and give us a rev, but that's where she is. So she's about 20 meters from us, and the cub is 40. I almost got a bit teary there. The relief was so profound. And I said to Dave, shall we just go and have a look in there? And he said, yeah, why not? I don't think either of us expected to find it. So Tundi's very relaxed. Yeah, let's go back to the cub. They must have been here yesterday. We just didn't see them. Gosh, and BK and I did search around here. It was the base of that very tree that I tried to get to from the other side. No, Tom L., we don't know the sex of the cubs. I'm pretty sure there's at least one female. And when we looked at the photograph that I took, it looked like one was bigger than the other. But if you look at the one that Bernie took yesterday, they look identical sizes. Bernie's the owner of Torchwood, and he very kindly sent me a picture. A beautiful picture of the two cubs. And I think they're two girls. From what I saw, I think they're two girls, but if there's one man who'll figure that all out for you, it's Tristan, and that'll be in the next couple of weeks. So we're not going to go anywhere from here. And stay right here. I might reverse back a little just so that we can have a view of Tundi. Maybe she'll go back and feed them. This is nice viewing for us here because it means that she can be with the cubs far from us. Little cubs moved now, so we'll just stick on Tundi for now. I'm just going to scan through and see if I can see a sign of the other one. Joseph Clan says I must name the cubs quickly. Well, if I was given a choice to name them, which I will certainly not be given, I'm not sure what I'd call them. You know what I would call it if there's a male here? I'd name it Herbert, after Herbert Causer. Maybe we could, if they're both female, we could name one Herberta. The other one? Not sure. Oh, there it's going out the base, Dave. Bottom right. Bottom right of the tree. I think it's the second one, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. We haven't got much light, everyone, so that's why your picture's starting to look like we're in a swarm of muggies. And the infrared light won't reach there. Okay, we'll try and get it infrared now for a cleaner picture. Okay, we're going to just see if we can get a clearer picture of what's going on here. You're going to go quickly across to Lauren.
I am in lots of trouble here. I'm so happy for James. But I'm also being told off by a small little elephant here. It's charged us about 7 times, possibly even 8. And then it gets distracted by food. Currently we're in the distraction phase. And I'm sure we'll get charged again. I think it's a boy. A young boy. And I think he's practicing his boisterousness. But we're hungry. We're also hungry. We've got to be a boy. But we've also got to eat. I'll come back to the cubbies in just a moment. I want to keep an eye on this Oh. Excuse me, sir. What on earth is wrong? He's jumping. I've never seen Ellies do that before. Okay, I've got one handful in my hands here, but we are going to send you back to James with his mobile cubbies.
I'm afraid the cubs moved down into the bush there. So we're just going to look at Tandy. We'll see if she gets up and moves down towards where the cubs are. She hasn't even looked up at us, which is great. Now, just above Tandy is a termite mound. And I walked onto that termite mound this morning, and I looked down into this drainage line here. And I thought to myself, should I walk down in there? And I thought, we investigated it yesterday. I'm sure there's nothing there. Well, I was wrong. All right, let's go back to Lauren's jumping tiny elephant. Spring-loaded.
My elephant has been jumping and jumping. I think the show is finally over. I've never seen an elephant or a calf jump like that before. I think I'm going to go forward now to get a view of Mama as well. BK and I are in shock. Have you seen that before, BK? Me neither. My goodness. Anyway, back to Tandy's cubs. I am so happy for James. He has worked very, very hard. Oh, we're jumping again. We're jumping, everybody. Why are we jumping? I think he's eating some jumping beans. Or just loves the feeling of it. Unfortunately, he's not very scary. Yes, James has been working so hard to find Tandy, and I'm so happy. It's his last drive for a while. And he found them. I don't actually know where he found them. Where did he find them, Nat? I'm so excited to know. Okay, it seems like they've got visuals again, so over to them.
We've got both the cubs now. I know that there's leaf and muck in the way, but they were playing. They're just starting to explore a little bit. I'm sure Tandy's completely convinced that they're invisible, and rightly so. Can you see them, Dave? One of them's just at the base of the tree where we first had them. And then the other one has just come down into the dip. One of them pushed the other off the root that they were standing on, and she fell down. Oh, there we go. That's just too cute. Here comes the other one. The other one's coming up now. There we go. You see it, Dolph? They are very, very fat. Very fat little things. Now remember, if you've enjoyed the sight of baby leopards, baby lions, baby elephants, hippos, adult elephants, and a whole lot of good banter and chat, please do consider supporting us. You can do that by going to the website wildearth.tv/support. That's wildearth.tv/support. My only regret is that I will not be able to get a photograph of this magnificent little sighting we're having. But, as we've said, Tristan will be coming in, and I suppose leopard cubs are more suited to a photographer of his skills. Lauren's also got 3 more days, so hopefully she'll get to see them too. Oh, wow. Hey. Alright, let's go back to Lauren and the elephants.
Goodness, what a drive. Natalie just said to me she can't believe it. In the last half an hour, she's got lion cubs, leopard cubs, and a jumping baby elephant. Can you believe it? Our baby elephant is still just to the side of us, not jumping, but we've got 2 tussling youngsters here. They were just headbutting, and I wonder if they're going to do it again. I think they are. They're young, they're teenagers. This is actually a huge herd. I didn't realize this before. I thought it was just a mother and cub. Yep, they're tussling. Look. Can you hear the tusks? Oh my goodness, it just keeps getting better and better, and you guys are going back over to the cubbies.
They're starting to climb this little tree now, and their mum's watching them. You can just see her looking at them. Look at that. It's just a ball of fluffy spots, I know, but still. Now, in case anyone's wondering why we haven't lit the place up like a baseball stadium, the only reason we're still with them is that we don't have to. So we'd never light up cubs like this. We'd only view them at this time of the day with infrared, and only if their mother was here. And as we know, their mother is here. She hasn't even looked at us. She's watching them carefully now, though, because they're now making a noise. to the left now. Oh, look, both of them. Up the tree you go. Come on, climb. Climb, little cat, climb. Tandy's gone back to sleep. I can Welsh on safari. I'm not going to do it in a Welsh accent. I think that my two words are utterly relieved. Or relieved and grateful. How about that? Relieved and grateful. Oh, look. Come on, up you go. Climb. Maybe Tandy doesn't have a kill here. Well, she can't. I suspect that this is now where she's just holding them up for a while. See their little eyes reflecting in the infrared? There we go. And there's still the robins calling all around us. Tariq, it's really not a question we can answer with any definitive kind of confidence. Tandy's moved these cubs once every 5 or 6 days until she got to the place in Torchwood, and she stayed there for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe even. Yeah, about 3 weeks. She kept them in the same place. So I don't know. It should be around about a week, you know. But remember, these cubs are now big enough to move with her, and so they won't, strictly speaking, den. She'll leave them in a safe place like this when she goes off hunting. She'll come back. But you see, they're not actually in a cave or anything like that. They're in a thick bush. But they'll muck about like this. And they're allowed to muck about like this because they'll climb to get out of harm's way, and you would have just heard that hyena calling miles away. It's obviously a danger to them, or a hyena is a danger to them, but they'll climb. I don't know, Michael. I'm really not sure if they were jumpy or not, but the only reason we saw them was that David saw some movement down at the bottom of the tree there. And yeah, I suspect that they're still pretty jumpy with a moving vehicle. I think around a static vehicle they're fine, especially if their mum's around. I mean, Bernie, I didn't ask Bernie how he got that shot, but I think he's got a 500mm lens, and he probably cropped it in quite nicely. But you know, those cats, they were walking towards him on the road in that picture, so they're not terrified. you know, they'll slowly come round to our presence. Look at the little leopard eyes looking at us. Yep, Tundi is definitely an experienced mum. She's 13. She's had a number of successful cubs, the most recent of which are Guchava, who's on Arathusa. We'll go to Tundi now. Not Arathusa, on Chitwa Chitwa. And Guchava's got a cub. And then there's Tamba, who's a successful territorial male down at Singita. There's another male called Bahuti. I might well be missing one or two, but she's lost a few and she's done pretty well with others. Oh, and of course, let us never forget Tlalamba. Tlalamba is a magnificent little leopardess. I would have thought that this is right on the boundary of Tlalamba's territory. We'll just see if we can have another look at the cubs. I think they're underneath there. Yeah. That's where they were messing around. There they are. I know that's not much of a leopard cub sighting anymore, everyone, but finally we have them, and hopefully they'll stay on Djuma. All right, we're going to sit you another 5 minutes and then move out. So let's go back to Lauren now and see what's happening with the elephants.
I've been having the best time, just as James is having the best time. Our elephant's calmed down. He's back with Mama, but we got a few more jumps, a few more charges, a few more trunk lifts, head shakes, ear flaps. And it's funny and entertaining because this youngster is just practicing. And the fact that Mama was so close nearby, we could see Mama the whole time. And there was no reaction from Mum. Mum knew there was no threat. This vehicle here, we're not posing any threat to her youngster. Mum also knew that her youngster was full of beans and being extremely naughty and just letting this youngster do its thing. But if there was a reaction from Mum, then it would be time to leave. But I do believe that the jumping baby Ellie, BK had it on camera the whole time, which means it has been recorded. So our beautiful ladies in FC are going to play it for you, and this is a playback of our little youngster. How cute was that? Repeatedly, this little youngster. It could be a girl, but it's got a very, very smooth forehead, very rounded, constantly jumping. I'm glad we got to share that with you. 3Play is always recording. It's a piece of equipment that we have that's always recording, even when we're not live. So we've been able to play back lots of moments for you, including my mamba scare with Davi, our little jumping elephant here. Jamie and I's hats blowing off when we were trying to drive one day, but it was far too windy. So 3Play catches everything. Oh, what a drive. What a drive. Started off slow and ended off ended up amazing, but it's not over yet, of course, and I would like to sort of head up this road because this road is Zoe's and it's very, very popular with moving leopards. So I think we're just going to let our elephants be because they are moving off. I'm not going to turn my side light on just yet in case we get charged by a teeny tiny little elephant again. But the mothers will scold the young. And Davy and I had a youngster the other day that was bumming our car. I don't even know if that's a correct adjective, but using its bum to push against the car, which is really, really naughty. And eventually the female, I can only presume was mother, I guess it might not be mother, really came over and shouted at that youngster because it cannot behave like that. Elephants. So the mothers, but I think aunts and cousins and relatives in the herd will also scold youngsters because they have to learn. They can't put themselves in any sort of jeopardy like that. I can put my lights on now. And get my spotlight out, of course. I didn't want to do that while the elephants were in the vicinity. We stayed in complete darkness. Oh, I hope Tandy and Cubby stay on Djuma. I'll be finishing up on the 18th, which is really not too far away, and I hope I get to spend some time with them. And of course, Tristan's coming in tomorrow, so it will be fantastic to see him. And between the two of us, we'll try and spend as much time with Tandy and Cubbies as possible. We've had Sabui's cubs, we've had Kuchava's cub, and now Tandy's. Okay, I'm going to head home, but it's going to take a while and hopefully we might bump into someone along the way. And as we do that, we are going to send you back across to Sean. Did you smell that?
What an incredible evening. Hey, what an incredible evening. James finding those little leopard cubs. We had our little lion cubs, so we let them. It was getting a bit dark. We don't want to be there when it's dark, as we were discussing earlier. So we left them. They were still sort of playing all around the mother when we left, but I'm sure by now she has probably taken them back into the thicket, into the sort of den itself, and then she might head out again a little bit later on a patrol, maybe look to hunt again. Doesn't seem like it's going to, I can't see the moon at the moment. But it doesn't seem it's going to be too bright of a night, which is good for the mother. Would allow her to hunt a little bit easier, hopefully get some sustenance. She didn't look too skinny, which is a great thing for her. But we are now hoping that all of our WildEarth luck and andBeyond and Ngala luck continues, and we find some of our own leopards on the way home. This is where we have been seeing tracks of two of them most recently, the Ngala female and her cub. So very cool if we can find them. Now we're also secretly hoping that we find our own porcupines. We're just discussing them now, saying what are the odds that a porcupine will bless us. And I'm sure if James was here, we would find them with the fantastic last drive luck that he is having. Marcel's last drive luck is, it's not bad. It's not bad. He says he did get us the lion cubs, which I suppose we could attribute to his last drive luck. But now we'll see if he can find us a porcupine. Then we'll know. Or even a chameleon. We haven't seen a chameleon in a while. They have indeed. Oh, there's some elephants up in front of us. They've just moved off. We just got to give them some time to let them move off. We don't like to shine the lights on the elephants because it hurts their eyes. They don't really like it. And they actually do get quite grumpy. Yeah, they don't enjoy it. And a grumpy elephant is not something that you want, especially on a narrow road like this, where my driving skills are pretty good. Oh, there's a few more of them. Looks like a whole herd up and down this road here. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're just going to wait here for these elephants to leave. While we do that, we send you back across to Djuma.
Our presenter light is not working at the moment, so David is shining the spotlight on me, and he said to me, "Do you not think you'll need it?" And I said, "No, I think we found exactly what we wanted to find, and that's fine. You can use it to shine on me as we drive." We left because we couldn't actually see anything anymore. Tundi didn't move, and it's a perfect spot actually to view them. So somebody will come back here in the morning and with any luck treat you to a slightly better sighting from a light point of view. Sure. What a way to finish up, hey? Kalina, why? Why do you do this? Why now? In my hour of triumph, do you ask me how many spots a leopard has? It's very obvious from the light that we had there that there was no ways I could count the spots on those cubs. So I can't answer that question. Also, somebody did count them once because of this question that keeps getting asked, and I think they came up with, what was it, about 3,000? I think it was 3,000 spots. I think they counted 1,500 on one side and just doubled it and got to 3,000. So it's roughly 3,000. I think it was that. I don't remember. It's 9 to 1,200, says Tristan. 9 to 1,200 spots. There you go. Those of you who care can remember it. 9 to 1,200 spots. What is interesting, I guess, is that those cubs have got all their spots. They're not going to get new spots. I always like to use the example for kids of a balloon. That if you draw a leopard on a deflated balloon and then blow it up, it doesn't get more spots. The spots just get bigger. It's exactly the same kind of concept, really. I don't think they get any more spots. I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't get any more spots. Their faces don't. Their faces definitely just sort of expand. They don't get new spots in between the old ones. David, I think this light is casting quite a nice yellow glow on me.
Very flattering.
Yeah. Right, let's go back to Lauren while we head back slowly towards home.
I'm also heading slowly back towards camp. It is so cold, everyone. I am really regretting my choice of wearing shorts. What on earth was I thinking? I probably wasn't thinking, to be honest, but it's been a mistake. So I'll do my best to keep warm as we look for those reflective eyes. Now, it could be anything. Spider's eyes reflects. Bush baby's eyes reflect. They reflect very well, actually. They're extremely large in comparison to the size of their head. Predator's eyes reflect. Antelope's eyes. Anything. Mostly the diurnal animals, such as your dwarf mongoose, your squirrels, they'll be tucked away. They'll be tucked away in little burrows and holes in the trees. You will never see them past sunset. We actually had dwarf mongoose for you earlier, but of course that's when the lion cubs were out and they were just rushing to get ready to go inside a termite mound for sunset. And the minute that sun went down that we showed you, they were gone. They know it's too dangerous to be out once that sun has set. Mikhail, you are 6 years old from Mumbai. Hi, Mikhail. I would love to. I would absolutely love to see an aardvark, but I haven't. Apparently, we do get them here. They're obviously not common. They're nocturnal. But I've never seen one. It's on my bucket list, I'm afraid. But science suggests that they are nocturnal, yes, absolutely. But they will only come out of their burrows or their mounds at a specific window of time. So it won't just be as soon as the sun sets. So the sun has set, but actually it's still quite light. There's still quite a lot of ambient light around because the sun isn't down enough. So it's said that aardvarks possibly only come out around the likes of midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning, which is exactly why we don't see them, because I am most definitely sleeping by then. I'm probably sleeping long before then, to be honest with you. So sadly, I've never seen one, but it's my dream. I would love to. I've got so many animals that I want to see. It's my mission in life to tick all the animals that I want to see off my bucket list. They are the most bizarre animals, aardvarks. But one day, I'm sure someone one day will get lucky and spot one. Okay, I'm just coming up to the edge of quarantine now. Let's just see if anybody's around. And as I search with my spotlight, we're going to send you back across to Mr. Hendry.
There we go. On our way home. Thoroughly satisfied. Although I must confess to you, I'm feeling very sad at leaving tomorrow. It's been a real honour and privilege to be with all of you during this time. We've got so many new friends, so many people from around the world have, I think, drawn some comfort from what we're doing here. And I feel like it's been, well, there's been a real atmosphere of solidarity over the course of the last 8 weeks, and who knows what's going to happen going forward. But it's been a real honour and a privilege to get to know you all over the last little while. And for all of you who've been with us before, obviously it's been a tremendous joy coming back and driving around here and finding all these characters and chatting with you. And it's just meant, I think, it's meant so much more to all of us on the ground here, because it wasn't just a safari we were taking, it was broadcasting into the homes of people who couldn't go anywhere else. And I hope that we brought some of nature's immensely healing power to you over the last 7 weeks, and that will continue. It will continue with Tristan and Lauren, and then David after that, and I'm not sure who's coming in post those two. Anyway, it's been great stuff. We're heading off to Durban tomorrow. May wife and I, we're also taking Natalie with us. We hope the police will allow us through where we need to get to. It's probably about a 12-hour drive, I think it's going to be. It'll be good to see our families, from whom we've been separated now for, well, quite some time. 9 or 10 weeks, if you include our little honeymoon. And if you do want to keep up with Kirsty and I, we will be broadcasting a weekly episode of me, my wife, and the wildlife, which probably really should be called My Wildlife, at least Wildlife, My Wife and Me. Anyway, it's about our little trip to the Kalahari earlier this year, and it's a really light-hearted look at what we found and the joys of camping as a new married couple. Just going to nip through here. The signal won't be great, and I'll talk to you once we get through the other side. Whee! Stop and look you in the eye when we get through here. Right, there it is. Right, everyone, that's it. Last 30 seconds of this stint. It's been, as I say, a tremendous privilege and a tremendous honour to take you all on safari with me. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments, even those ones that were repeated and even those ones that aimed to, what shall we say, challenge me. It's been just wonderful, and I'm very sad to be leaving, and I'll hopefully see you again soon at the end of June. Until then, stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.